Hello and welcome to the Coffee and Hustle podcast. In this episode, we'll be discussing how fitness is reinventing itself. I'm Carla with Designedbycarla, and joining me on this podcast discussion is Blair Morris, the owner of Iron Tribe of Huntsville and Madison. So thank you for joining us, Blair. Tell us a little bit about what Iron Tribe stands for. Give us a little bit behind the scenes of what Iron Tribe is all about.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Iron Tribes really is a special place, and we like to talk about, internally, and our mission is we're more than a gym, and we're out there to change lives, and that's really the sole purpose of what we do is trying to impact people positively every single day. That's really core values of what we do. It's each day, as myself and my trainers, we have the opportunity to positively impact. And that's internally, we talk about that to say, we get you for 45 minutes. And for 45 minutes, we want to be the best part of our client's day. It revolves around fitness, but it's much more than that, right? We want to give them a positive experience and give them a win, especially right now. In today's atmosphere, in today's world, it's hard. People aren't winning a lot. And we want to create a positive experience to where they accomplish something, because we all know the more you accomplish things, the more you want to do it. And fitness is not easy, and body transformations aren't easy. So that's what we do. That's a little peek behind the curtain. We also work with people nutritionally, especially right now, being stuck in the house. It's hard to eat healthy. So we try to help people with that. And overall, it's different than any other gym, I would say, out there. Most people ask, what do you do, Blair? And I said, well, I'm in the fitness industry. Oh, you own a gym? And they start comparing me to like a gym that you walk in and you do it on your own. And it's just very, very different. The easiest way to explain it is you're working out with your best friends, but you have a personal trainer in there as well.
I think the one thing about Iron Tribe that really is special is the accountability. It makes you really dedicate your time and energy to your goals. And I think that that's so important these days, because we can definitely, with all the distractions that is around us, whether it's work or kids or even your partner, these things can be somewhat of a distraction for us, and we don't put ourselves first. So I think when we put our fitness goals in priority, everything else kind of falls in that domino effect. Don't you agree? I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I get asked this question a lot, from my friends, is who's your biggest competitor? And they start naming off other fitness, either genres or other fitness industry people in the industry, excuse me. And I say no. I said it's fast food chains and Netflix. That's my biggest competitor.
Yeah.
Because especially right now, it's with the shelter-in-place orders and things like that. People are afraid to get outside, and people are tired, and they have long days, they have kids and things like that, and it's hard to get them motivated. So I would 100% agree with you.
And also, it's probably one of the best things to really understand. It helps you manage a lot of those stresses, because we have so much on our shoulders at this point, and things that we're trying to focus on. And we have a lot of negativity happening to us that's around us right now. And when we have some sort of positivity and putting our fitness in front of us, at least we can check that box off every single day. It's easy to make an excuse. I think some of us, roll around in the bed and go, I'm just not going to do it today. And then they regret it. I think that's the biggest thing that people end up doing, is that it's that commitment that makes so important. I think Iron Tribe speaks for itself because of the aspect of the, not only the accountability part, but also the friendship part, the bondship, the commitment. People there actually cheer you on to be a better you, and not just the coaches, but the whole room does. And you don't feel like you're just, you're only competing more with yourself than other people. But I know with all the things that are happening for 2020, we all had these goals for 2020. We were all on this path, and then all of a sudden we kind of on this derailment that we're on right now. you had to completely change your model, when everything came to a standstill. So how did you react to that in the very beginning, Blair? How did that make you feel?
Yeah. So, we're trucking along, having a great year, great first quarter from the business perspective. And then it's funny, in my life, we were getting ready to give birth to my second child, a little girl. And so we had her on March the 10th. 4 days later, we brought her home from the hospital. And then, over the weekend, and then I believe it was that Tuesday after that where we had to shut everything down. So we were a little bit ahead of the mandatory shutdown. We decided to do it early, and for the safety of all of our clients. Literally, I think I called the team meeting, we have a standing team meeting every Tuesdays, and it was like, okay, how are we going to do this? And we had some guidance from our corporate office on what they were doing, but we're getting it all done. We've got nine employees. We sat in there and we probably had a 2-hour power session of, okay, who's doing what, when we're going to do it. We diagrammed it, and then we said, okay, what platforms are we going to use? And early on, it was Facebook Live. Just because that's what we knew, and the easiest way to get in front of all of our clients. And then it adapted into more of a Zoom. We use Zoom, so we could get that face-to-face interaction and actually coach our clients and see their movement patterns and not just perform. I would say like perform a workout. But on the other aspect of that, when we were working out and our trainers were working out with our clients, it was good for them to see that the trainers huff and puff and sweat and struggle through workouts as well, and that they are human. But that's what we did. And, we knew it was going to be a pivotal time, in the fitness industry, because so many people are used to coming to a brick and mortar facility, and now it's gone, So we really ramped up the accountability and put measures into place of how many times we're going to be reaching out each week to all of our clients, how many texts, what are we doing? So that was a big focus of that meeting. And, it was my team, my coaches and my trainers. I've never been a part of a team that really came together and within a 24-hour period changed our model, because we did not have any online experience at all. And within 24 hours turned it around. And we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from that, and we actually started incorporating it into our model that's going to be happening moving forward, which is where the fitness industry is trending right now.
And so I guess that's the topic of our discussion, is like how fitness is reinventing itself. Is you pretty much you didn't have a choice, even though eventually I think this was where things were going to be going anyways, because, being that I work on the online market, I already knew that these things that we're in fast forward pace, kind of like we had no choice. We had to make choices, and they were hard choices.
Right.
But these choices that you're making now are choices that I think eventually you would have had to go that direction anyways. Mm-hmm. It's just that you had to set it up and test it out pretty quick.
Yeah, I wish we would have had a test time. It was literally turned around, and yes, and it was. I 100% agree with you that you could see with bikes like Peloton. I think Peloton was kind of the big first one on the market to really bring in that in-home experience. And then there's others out there now. There's the Mirrors one. Now they have a boxing one. There's all kind of like in-home where you loop in a virtual trainer. And those were, I believe those were thrust into the market. And, small gyms like what we have, because we're a small market gym, micro gyms is what we're called in the industry, had to adapt like on the fly. So yes, it was coming, but it was with COVID and everything like that, it was really, we were thrust into that. And overall, I think the gyms and the fitness and the small gyms that were able to adapt, you will see will survive through this. And then others won't. I read something the other day that 24% of gyms in the nation have already closed their doors and aren't coming back. And that's extremely unfortunate, because there's a lot of great small gyms out there. But you just got to have that adaptability, adapt and overcome.
And I think that when you know that you can adjust based on what's going on in the industry, whether it's a gym or a restaurant, people had to make some sudden changes. And unfortunately, there was a lot of things that had to be determined, especially closing the doors or letting people off. And I think that for you, fortunately, it's that type of gym, right, that you have, that focus-driven gym that you have, that you are able to put people in places that needed to be where they needed to be. And still today, even after you've allowed your doors to be back open, you still are accommodating your, current customers with, coaches. And your coaches have stepped up by, posting things that, and creating that communication between not only in person at the gym, but also online. And so you're developing that aspect of this program that's really moved you as, knowing the fact that not just are you an owner of your gym, but now you are a bona fide entrepreneur, because when you can say you can make those adjustments without having to, of course, everybody fails at certain decisions, but do you feel like there was in any part of these transitions, do you feel like anything failed? Do you feel like there was something that you could have done that was different? Or do you feel like that right now you are where you need to be and you're still moving forward?
I would say, I think we learned, I think that's the biggest thing, with the speed that we had to pivot. I don't think we failed, right? Because we still have the online presence. I think that's a big thing. Now we've adapted and we've learned, like I mentioned earlier, bringing it on, everything was streaming on Facebook from like day one. We're like, hey, Facebook's where we're going to live. And it was an okay product at that point. And I'll just say okay, because there wasn't a lot of interaction. And with our model, we have a lot of interaction with our clients. And then as we learned and we said, hey, this is what we need that interaction. Our clients want that interaction. That's when we started to jump platforms and move into a Zoom model to where, we could actually see our client work out. So if I were to say there was a failure, it would be not doing Zoom first and not understanding that piece of it. But as far as just an overall failure, no. I will say, moving forward, we're in a very good position, even from an acquisition of acquiring new clients. We are, not many people want to come into a gym right now. And I totally respect that, from a new client perspective. So, we're acquiring clients online. We've got clients in Tennessee right now. I've got clients based out of Nashville. We're putting together a marketing strategy to branch out, even north into Kentucky and towards Knoxville. So, which has expanded who we can reach and the lives that we can change, and they don't even have to walk in our door. So really excited about where that's going to take us in the near future. So
I think that when you start understanding how marketing really works, right? Because we're so used to, certain businesses are so used to that standalone, you walk in the door, you open it, and someone is standing in front of you, versus when you really know and understand your market and the audience that you're talking to, you can be very successful online. And as an entrepreneur that you are, you've come a long way in such a short amount of time. And now you see a future even bigger, and that's basically you redeveloping the outlook of what your business is all about. And I think that now that you're reaching out further, you start to realize that there's so much opportunity out there, things that these ideas and things that are probably turning in your head right now, and you're probably going, I wish I could just share it with everybody. I think that because look, you guys are like, it's hard to be in this industry. It's such a competitive industry. Mm-hmm. And so how do you think about that? Does that somewhat bother you a little bit when you know that you're in this very tight-knit industry? How do you set yourself out differently than everybody else? Like, how do you set yourself up against your other competitors? And I know that's hard to say that, because I don't necessarily think of me having competitors, because I feel like I'm different. You know what I mean? I kind of set my own mold, and even though I'm put in the same category. Do you feel that same way?
Oh, absolutely. I think, as a gym owner, when I tell that to people, they immediately equate it to like a big box gym. And I'll use this brand as an example, like Gold's Gym. That's been a brand's been around forever, and that's what we consider a big box gym. And they'll say, well, oh, like this, and oh, like that, and then I have to explain to them, well, no, it's very different. And I think that's hard because as entrepreneurs, I think in your mind, you're different, but how do you relay that message? Especially in a conversation. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've had to learn over, the 7 years or 8, wow, 7 years, holy cow, 7 years of being in the Huntsville area and being in the fitness industry, is how do I separate myself from the other fitness industry, the other gyms in our area, through conversation. And that's hard, especially in the fitness industry, because everybody's minds, they want to turn it to, oh, well, you do this. Well, no, we don't. Or you do that. Well, no, we don't, so it's hard.
Do you feel like that you're more like the storyteller in the sense of like, not only do you have this great program, you can show the results. You have something to back it, and people have a story. They come to you with, here's my problem, and you know how to take it and turn it into something incredible for them. And you can prove the results. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's almost like a doctor. Like, we're going to prescribe what, you come to me with a problem, and, whatever that goal may be. And maybe, we have a client, actually I talked to a client this morning, a new client, and, she's been trying to lose the same 50 pounds for 10 years, and how does that happen? Right. Or how do we go about doing that? Well, there's certain questions that we need to ask, like a doctor, to find out, well, what's wrong? Like, why are you struggling with this? Is it X? Is it Y? Is it Z? And then we provide that solution. And I really feel like that's the separation. And thank you for bringing that up. But that's the separation that happens with a lot of other fitnesses is when you walk into a general fitness area, they're not going to prescribe you. You're kind of left to do it on your own versus somebody digging in and actually finding out, okay, why haven't you achieved this goal that you've been wanted for 10 years, right? What's the hang up? Because you've attempted it and you've attempted it and you've attempted it, and maybe you've seen some success, but you just never reached it. There's a hang up somewhere, and what is that hang up, and how do we overcome that?
So how did you get into the fitness industry in the first place? Like, how did you end up here? Like, how did that happen for you?
So I was an athlete my whole life. I had the opportunity to be an athlete in college. So working out was just a part of my life for, oh my gosh, since I was probably, 5 or 6 years old, being on the ball field till I was 22. And then I realized I wasn't going to be paid to be an athlete. So I had to get out in the working world. And when I got out in the working world, I quit. I quit working out. I just decided I had done it so long, I was burned out. So let's see, I was 22 and I was in I did some sales jobs and was entertaining clients and ate like crap. And then I think it was like 26, a friend of mine introduced me to Iron Tribe as a client. And from the day one workout, I walked in and I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. Because I quote unquote worked out, went to the gym for 2 hours, walked on the treadmill, did some weights, and never broke a sweat. And then got my butt kicked day one. And I was like, this is it. This is home. I love it. So I was 2 years in that facility at Highway 280 in Birmingham. And it changed my life so much, just because the positive impact the coaches had on me. And it's like, man, this coach actually cares about me and wants to see my body change and wants to see my mentality change. This is what I want to do. And I never thought in my wildest dreams that it would be in the fitness industry. So looked at the model and became a franchisee and opened up our doors. Let's see, it was 7 years ago, 35, so I was 28. So, first time business owner at 28 and all the struggles that happened, all the bad mistakes. You're talking about a lot of mistakes I've made. There's been a lot over the past 7 years.
Yeah.
but that's how.
Yeah, but we all make those mistakes.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you go, oh, I'm 7 years, and you get excited. I'm sitting here go, it's almost 19 for me, and I kind of think about it, but I don't think about it in a way. I kind of, it doesn't get easier as I get older either, because the industry changes so much. And I know the same thing with the fitness industry. You don't want to be a gimmick, and you don't want to sell something to someone who doesn't really believe in what they're wanting either. You want commitment too, just like me in my marketing industry. I always try to, sometimes they're interviewing me, but they don't realize that I'm actually interviewing them in a sense, because I have to have commitment, because I want to grow with them in their business as well. And so you kind of do that same thing. You want to get the right people in your program, because you want that kind of commitment too. But the best thing I think that I like about the program, and I'm a member there, is people know your name. You know what I mean? It's like that cheer song. It's like you walk through the bar and somebody knows your name.
Right.
Or it could be that Beyonce, say my name, say my name.
Right.
You want to feel special, and I think that, and it's approachable. Like, you could go up to your coach and ask them probably the craziest questions, and they have an answer for you. You know what I mean? And your program doesn't stop there. It's like a team. It's like a family. It's a unit, and you feel like you're part of that. But being that you're an entrepreneur at such a young age, you know the ups and downs, and you learn to listen to them. A lot of times people don't listen to it. They don't listen to what may be going wrong. You have somehow figured it out on how to get through this situation that we're going through right now in 2020, because we're all kind of waiting for the new year to happen now. If we could ring the bell and say 2021, I think we all would do that right now. But you've taken a situation in being in business for 7 years and knew how to move it along, and here you are. That's something very exciting for you, because not only did that, but you won Gym of the Year this year. That's a great honor. How did that make you feel when you got that announcement?
Oh, dramatic. And I think it was funny because I got the text on Father's Day, so that was pretty cool. From one of my coaches, they were like, "Hey, happy Father's Day," and I think, not only for myself but for my team, my coaches, they put in so much hard work, and they do a lot of things that aren't seen by our clients. We see most people for 45 minutes, maybe, on average 4 days a week. But there's so much more that goes on that our clients don't see, and the time and the effort and the continued education, because our coaches have a passion for that. So getting rewarded for that from our clients and the people that were with us, are with us, and even past clients, I'm sure, I hope they voted, but it was very awesome. Just be able to relay that in our team meeting and say, "Hey guys, here's the fruits of y'all's labor. We were voted best gym in the Huntsville area for this past year, and it meant a lot for us, and to be recognized. We don't want recognition. Like I was telling you earlier, it's hard for me to talk about myself, but I think there's some gratification in it as well.
I think that we all have that problem, because when you're a business owner, to a certain degree, we tend to not take full credit, because it takes a team of people to do it together. So sometimes when you can recognize not you just being the owner, because that's different. But when you know that you have a good team of people, you know that you can't take full credit. It's really hard to say it's just me, because it's not about just you, even though you have a family and all these responsibilities outside of that. So how do you motivate your trainers? How do you keep them motivated, Blair? How do you do that for them?
Ooh, that's something that I'm still trying to figure out. That's something that I've really learned over, the last 7 years, because we've had great trainers and then we've had some not so good ones, and that's just kind of a part of business. I think in our industry, because it's very niche. A good trainer has to be self-motivated. And it can't be about money. I think that's the biggest thing. It can't be about money because if you're getting into the fitness industry as a trainer, as a coach, and to make a lot of money, you're getting in it for the wrong reasons because it's a long, hard grind. You got to be in it to change lives. So to answer that question, how do we keep them motivated? It's honestly, how many lives have you touched today? And that's something that we talk about, and we have a scorecard that's up in the gyms of wins and how many wins can you create in a month. So that's something that's motivated, and there is some compensation behind the scenes a little bit for because a little extra money every now and then is not going to hurt, but that's not the main reason. So to say that is just to see how many lives they can change. And I have a team now that's been together. So I think our newest one's about a year, which is really kind of unheard of in the fitness industry as well, because trainers kind of come and go in a lot of other different business models. So this is the best team I've ever had. They motivate each other. That's what's cool, because we're all a little competitive as well. So I see that happening as well, as they all feed off of each other and a little bit competitive and saying, well, my client lost 30 pounds. Well, my client did their first pull-up. Well, my client hit a PR, so that's how we motivate them. And that's something that I've learned over being in this industry is I can only take it so far personally from the business motivating. The right people are going to be self-motivated, and those are the ones that are going to succeed, and those are the ones that we need in our team.
And it really does make a big difference when you've got everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses in it, and you can pull together and become a really good team. And I think that's so important to understand who your team is individually, because everybody can bring something different to the table. And then you allow them to be creative along with that. And you give them that freedom when you feel like you got to control them and control everything all the time, that can actually pull everything apart. But I commend you on that. You've got a great team. And my thing is that when we start thinking about training, a lot of times people cringe from that. What is it? What does that look like? And one of the things that I think is very important to know is that you guys, not only do you offer the different kinds of classes like push, which is like more cardio, but when you do the weightlifting, I think a lot of times people are in the beginning are kind of scared to do it, but it's encouraged that, especially for women, weightlifting is very important. Can you explain to us why weightlifting is very good for women in general?
Yeah. So kind of the first thing is, as women age, osteoporosis really comes into play, and weight-bearing exercises is one of the best preventable measures for that. Also, women naturally carry less muscle mass than men. And that's why ladies get so frustrated with, the man in their lives. When men start working out, they just shed fat so much faster. And they're like, what are you doing? You've only been doing it for 2 weeks. And they get frustrated because muscle burns fat. And the more muscle you have on your body, when I say muscle, let me backtrack here. When I say muscle, I'm not talking about ripped up and just cut up and, a female version of Arnold Schwarzenegger. There are women out there that have that look. They work extremely hard for that look. And it takes a lot of years for that look. So that's a big misconception to have. I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to look like that. You're not going to look like that by just picking up 10 or 15 pounds, So a lot of the women that come in, they're, Blair, I want to lose the belly fat, or I want to lose the fat around my arms or my hips or my legs. Well, to do that, muscle is a fat burning engine. And I don't care how much cardio you do, you will lean up, and that's great. But if you want to burn fat when you're not working out, you got to have muscle. So that's why weight-bearing exercises and lifting weights and building long, lean muscle is so important, because it's going to burn calories when you're at rest. And that's when the really big transformations happen. And that's how it can happen so quickly, right? So, I've seen women in our program, and then women just in general, whether in our program or not, that lift weights and do it properly and safely without getting hurt, and coupled with a proper diet, can lose 20 to 30 pounds in, 4 to 6 weeks, and they keep it off because they start developing muscle mass, and muscle burns fat when you're not doing anything, when you're just sitting here.
And I think it's important too. You guys, not only do you the workouts, but the meal planning is so important because you're teaching us how to eat better. And you don't walk away from that. You encourage it. We hear it every day, to stay, I think that is so important. It's not, you're not just handing us a template and making us walk out the door and trying to figure it out. You guys figure it out with us. And I think that's so important. Now you've been doing your own workouts. You've stepped up and did some virtual workouts as well. How did that go for you? Like, you went from, okay, you had to step in and actually do some of these virtual workouts. And I worked out with you as well. And those were actually very fun with you. Has that changed for you? Do you feel like now that you're in front of people, have you felt like you've changed your commitment on, wanting to be more in front of the camera?
Yes and no. When I first started, and any person that starts a gym will understand this, while you're kind of building your clientele and you're building the people you're building your base, as I like to call it. I was on the floor. I was coaching. I was coaching a lot. 5:30 in the morning, go home, take a nap, and come back and do it again. Pulling 14, 15, 16-hour days. And now, we've built a business up and have trainers and shifts and things like that. So it's been a little while since I've been on the floor and being in the spotlight. But it was fun for me. It was a lot of fun to get back out and use some of the knowledge that I haven't used in a while. And being a new dad, I was, my priorities had shifted a little bit. So a couple of those first workouts, I was like, holy cow, I'm dying.
Yeah.
And then trying to coach on top of that and trying to, talk people through movements. It was fun. I like being out there. I'm a people person as it is.
Well, how do you, what is your favorite workout though? I mean, you did all those different kinds of workouts with us, but what is your actual favorite workout if you had to choose right now?
If I had to right now, I'd say anything with a barbell with rest. So my favorite workouts are a short sprint, short rest, just because that works for me. Long grinding running workouts are not. So anything with a barbell, and a little bit of running, rowing, and I really like the assault bike, believe it or not, just because I'm kind of good at it. But I would say a barbell, maybe a little bit of running, and an assault bike and short. So
what is your, I mean, if you had your favorite meal of the day, what would that be like for you? We talk about health. Do you have a cheat day? What would that meal be if you had a cheat day?
Oh, pizza. Pizza. So yeah, I can crush a large pizza right now if I wanted to. Pepperoni and pineapple.
I'm actually very hungry right now, so
we shouldn't be talking about this.
Be visualizing food. I know when we're hungry, we're talking about food, and that's probably a very unhealthy thing to do.
That's right.
And you guys are firm believers. Y'all have your own products. You sell your own protein shakes. You guys do, in-house, fat burners, and you encourage all of these things, these things you incorporate it, but you don't try to force it on anybody. I have to say that it's kind of like it's there if you want it, but you also recommend it if it's needed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So when anybody starts on a journey to achieve a goal, whether it's losing weight, which is predominantly what we see in the fitness industry is people wanting to lose weight, you have to look at the hierarchy of things. And the very first thing before you do anything is nutrition. The old saying, you can't outwork a bad diet, is just nutrition is 80% of everything. So you can go to the gym for a year and work 5 days a week, and you may see some results, but you're not going to see the big time results until you get your nutrition right. Then you got to get your fitness in. Then down the chain is supplements, and the key word there is supplement, right? They're there to help, but there is no magic pill out there. And I'll be the first one to say, anybody trying to sell you on something that a pill that's going to magically transform your body, it's snake oil. It really is. So there are supplements out there. There's a lot of supplements that help, whether it's a fat burner or a thermogenic, just kind of heat the body up a little bit, help you sweat a little bit more. But you also have to be careful what's in those products. Back in the day, I think when ephedra was big, he could drop all kind of weight, but your heart's going to be out of your chest. Now the products that we put in our facility don't have any stimulants in them. It's all very organically based. And so that's the big thing. And then the protein is very, very clean. If there's any one supplement that I think the first supplement that everybody needs to be on is generally just some sort of protein, because most people can't ingest enough through food to get the grams up high enough if they're doing this type of fitness.
If we think about it, we've come a long way as far as like nutrition, understanding what's good for our bodies. It's really just all about us transitioning into that and making really good habits. It takes, I think it's like 21 days. I know variations, but it is 21 days to form a really good habit, whether it's getting out of bed early in the morning, or making a commitment to meal plan every week. And meal planning, if you want to explain that, but meal planning is really not that difficult. If we think about it, what is one of the easiest things you could tell people about meal planning that they can do right now?
I would say cook all of your protein for the week. That's the easiest thing to do, is just whether you like it grilled or baked or however you want to do it, get all of your protein done for the week, one, because it's going to last. What I do is Sundays, I do all of my protein. I just get out on the grill and I spend, 30 to 45 minutes. It doesn't take long to prep. I got my smoker going, I got my grill going, and I got my oven going, and I'm just cooking all my protein. And then every night we'll generally do veggies. I like to bake veggies as well, because those will keep a week. What I would say, though, I want to kind of bring this to light, is what I would say, anybody that's starting in nutrition, drastic changes are hard. You have to start with something small, and you have to know and be honest with yourself of where am I starting from? For instance, if you're somebody that drinks 3 Cokes a day and goes to fast food 5 days a week and just has no idea what healthy eating is, going from that to meal prepping 21 meals for the week and only eating veggies and everything like that, it's too broad of a change. And most likely, not all cases, but most likely people won't stick with it for long term. So you have to approach it in small incremental steps. Instead of drinking 3 Cokes, drink 1. Instead of going to fast food 5 days a week, cut it down to 2, right? And then make healthier decisions. And small incremental changes like that over a consistent long period of time, that's how habits are formed, and that's how lifelong changes occur. Because we don't want to lose 20 pounds and then gain it right back. That's pointless, Yeah,
I agree with you on that. I think it's just it's just a slow migration, and it is commitment, and it's habit forming too at the same time. And it really does change your mental aspect. And it makes you think about your body, what's going on with you internally, especially now. I think it's so important. How do you handle the stresses that you've got going on right now, Blair? How do you handle that going on with you?
So as I mentioned earlier, we brought a new baby home right before we had to shut down the gyms. And, I've got a 2-year-old son, daycare was shut down. So we had a new baby, a 2-year-old, trying to figure out what to do with the gyms and, and how to manage this. Very stressful. It was extremely stressful. My outlet was getting in front of the camera and forcing myself to work out. So whether it's fitness or whatever, to manage stress, whatever works for you, make that a priority, right? We all have busy lives, and please, I cannot tell who exactly said this, but I'm sure a lot of people have already heard it. Everybody has the same amount of time in the day. It's just how you prioritize it. So the old adage of I don't have time, that doesn't make it. No, I may be a little curt here, but that's not true, because it's just how you prioritize your time. So if you have a priority of, hey, I need something to de-stress, whether it's a walk or whether it's time with your family or whatever it is, carve that out and say, this is my time. This is my 30 minutes. This is my hour. Maybe it's only 5 minutes. Put it on your calendar, carve it out, and just do it. And it may start 3 days a week. It may start doing it 1 day a week, and then the next week you build it 2. But it's creating that habit of consistency, because consistency is how changes are made. Anybody can do one.
And I think that it's so important that we do that, but it takes, some of us, is like, we get so many distractions now. We have so many things happening to us, and we're just trying to manage to get through the day. But I think the most important aspect is just being able to think about ourselves just for a minute, because we think about everybody else. We think about what's going on with our business. We think about what's going on with our children, our husband, whatever, or even somebody that's dealing with situations that may be going on around you. When you put 5 minutes or 10 minutes on yourself, it just changes your whole entire mindset. And it's hard. It's a very difficult thing because, but for those that just show up at the gym and say, I'm here, reaching out to people, I think is so important. I think our mental state with all that's going on right now, we have to completely, motivate those people that we know are not coming, because we need people that are coming, right? But we got to figure out a way to get to those people that are not coming, and get them in, so that either they're online virtually with you guys or they're in the gym. And that's called accountability. And that's how you guys have been doing that. And I think that's a great checklist for you guys. You guys are reaching out. You reach out to your athletes, even your coaches. We get text messages, even a phone call. You guys are reaching out to your athletes. And I think that sets you apart from a lot of other people. And I think that's a great thing.
I think right there too. I like to use analogy of, people look at, people in the music industry or movie stars or professional athletes, and, they're like, well, man, look at them. They have the perfect body, or man, this guy's just the top of his game in whatever sport. What's something that they have that we don't? And that's a coach. That's somebody there holding them accountable. Yeah, they have drive and they have commitment, but I guarantee you that person doesn't have the drive or commitment 24 hours a day, 365. Mentally, they lose it sometimes, but they have that accountability there. And you asked me earlier what separates our program, and this is it. It's coaching. Yeah. It's coaching and accountability. We're in the accountability business. We're not in the fitness business.
So before we're going to go into the segment where we're going to tell little jokes with each other to see who can laugh. Who is your motivation? Like, who is your inspiration right now?
Who's my inspiration?
Who is that inspiration?
Oh, I would say my wife. My wife is 100% my inspiration. Being a new mom, it's amazing to see. I never knew it until I had kids of my own, and watching my wives. And for all moms out there, y'all are amazing. I don't know how you do it, but just seeing her, interact with our children, hold down a job, help me, and she really is. She's kind of my rock. She helped me hold it together during all of this. And my family's my inspiration. That's what drives me every day, is just being able to provide for my kids. And that's what gets me up in the mornings.
And that's so true, because when we can't do what we do without somebody behind us cheering us on. And that's so important, especially in what's going on today, means even more because of, we're kind of locked up. We're not able to go where we want to go and see the people we want to see. And, it's so important. And you guys have really stepped up to be those coaches for us. So I commend you for that. So I'm going to jump into the fun part, because we talk serious all the time, right? I want to do a couple gym jokes with you today. I want to see if you like them, if you can rate them 1 to 10. And maybe you'll share them with some of your friends too, or some of the coaches. But do you have any jokes for me today? Did you write any jokes?
So I've got a few, since I'm kind of on the dad program right now. I found some 40 bad dad jokes, and I picked out a few that I thought were funny.
Okay, so you have dad jokes. I have gym jokes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my first one, and then I'll do one and you do one. Okay, we'll do that. We'll swap it. What is a banana's favorite gymnastic move?
I don't know.
The splits.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right. So this is actually kind of a gym one as well. I burned 2,000 calories today. I left my food in the oven for too long.
That's nice. Nice. I like it. Okay, here's mine. Why isn't the personal trainer paying rent?
I don't know.
He's squatting.
That's pretty good.
We can use that on Justin.
Yeah.
Justin.
No kidding. All right. Did you hear about the famous Italian chef that recently died?
No.
He passed away.
That's a good one. He passed away. I like that one. Okay. Why do hamburgers go to the gym?
I don't know.
To get better buns.
Pretty good. Here's another one on here that kind of goes along with the gym thing. Said, I visited a weight loss website. They told me I have to have cookies disabled.
Okay, that's a good one. I like it. Why did the gym goer get arrested?
I don't know.
She killed her workout.
That's pretty good.
That's a good one. I like that one.
All right. Want to hear a construction joke?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm still working on it.
Okay, I have a last one that says, I have to make a confession. I'm not bench pressing anymore. Wow, that took a lot of weight off my chest.
Oh, that's pretty good. You win the day.
Jokes galore. So Blair, I have to really say thank you for joining us on the Coffee and Hustle I just said hussy. Thank you for joining us on the Coffee and Hustle podcast. And I have to say, you guys are great. You guys are wonderful individuals. I like the fact that you guys are approachable. And you guys continue to keep doing what you're doing. You guys won the fitness gym of this year. You guys have worked really hard for that, and I commend you for that. So congratulations on that, and thank you again for coming on the Coffee and Hustle podcast. By the way, why don't you mention any new things that are coming up in July that you've got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody that's in the Huntsville and Madison market, you'll start to see an online challenge that we're going to be marketing. So you'll see it on Facebook. That's the big thing. We have, I wouldn't say we've perfected our online programs, but we're pretty darn good at it. And we've learned over the last 3 months of what works and what doesn't work. And we've had a lot of great success. So I'm really excited about that. If you're interested in that, you can reach out to us. Just go to our website and find our location. You can find us there. That's the big thing. And then for you, Carla, and our internal members, we have Jacked in July. So getting those biceps and triceps ready.
Jack it up.
That's right.
All right. So thank you, Blair. And thank you for listening to today's episode, How Fitness is Reinventing Itself. This is our Coffee and Hustle podcast. And we'll see you again soon.